Okay, and let's start.
Okay, so welcome again to our last international webinar of our Guide Me Green webinar series. So the topic today is strategies for destinations and businesses to attract sustainability conscious travelers. I am Sonia Barani, project manager at ITCAM, the Italian Chamber of Commerce for Germany, and project coordinator of the Erasmus Plus project Guide Me Green. Today, you can see here with us some more colleagues who are part of this project. We have Open Europe from Spain, Euracom from France, and the Landesverband Volkshochschule Sachsen-Anhalt from Germany. So I will briefly introduce you the agenda of today's meeting. If I manage to, okay, I think now you see the agenda. So we will briefly introduce the Guide Me Green project. And after that, I will give the floor to the three speakers of today. So we have three speakers, three representatives from tourism from Italy, France, and Germany, and they will share with us their strategies to attract sustainability conscious travelers. So now I will switch the presentation. Please tell me if you can see it. No, I think now you can see the presentation. So this is our team, so the Guide Me Green project team. So we are partners based in Germany, Spain, France, Italy, Croatia, and Bulgaria. So this is a picture from our last meeting. So our idea and also our motivation to start this project was to dispel the myth that green travel and sustainable travels are only for the wealthy. So our goal is to promote a more sustainable and more inclusive tourism. So to give every traveler, so despite of maybe some limited budget, the possibility to travel sustainably. So now we are about to finish our project. So our project is officially finishing at the end of April. So we have some project results that we would like to briefly share with you today. And we would be very happy if you would like to have a look at the project results on our website. So the first project results, so the first thing that we developed in our project is the Guide Me Green manual on good practices. So first we wanted to inspire tourism professionals, but also policymakers and tourists in general with some best practices, with some good example of sustainable travel, good example of sustainable traveling, which is also budget friendly. So if you have a look at our website here, you can see some of the best practices. You can find around 100 good practices, not only Europe, but basically all over the world of sustainable tourism, which is also budget friendly. You can see we have divided the handbook in several target groups. So we have some good practices, for example, for tourism professionals, if you would like to adapt your current offers to maybe budget conscious travelers or to travelers that are interested in sustainability. We have some good example of tools, for example, apps that you can use, or some destinations that manage to attract successfully a broader target of sustainable travelers. And this output, like all other output of our project, is available in English, of course, but also in German, in Spanish, in French, in Bulgarian, in Croatian, and in Italian. Our second result is an e-learning course, which is still available and will remain available also after the end of our project on our website. So with this course, we wanted to address both tourism professionals that would like to learn more about sustainable travel, which is also inclusive, but also adult travelers. So you can see in every module, you can decide freely if you would like to take all modules, or maybe if you're interested only in one or two modules. You have a more general part and a deep dive for professionals. So you can see here is the path to basically to organize a trip that is both sustainable and inclusive. We wanted to make our course interactive, so you can see you have a part of theory, let's say, but also exercise and some more activities if you would like to maybe to test your competencies or what you have learned. And for us, it is also important to foster a more inclusive way of teaching sustainable travels, because actually our target group are more adult travelers. So there is a part also for teachers, basically, that can use and adapt our course also in their teaching units. You can see we try to make it a little bit more funny, because we have some quizzes, but we have also some activities. Here you can see in the screenshot we have, for example, created a kind of adapted version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, with some questions about sustainable tourism. We have also other interactive activities, and I really invite you to have a look at the course, who will still be available also after the end of our project. The last result that we produced is an awareness raising campaign, because we would like to spread the word that sustainable tourism can and should be more inclusive. So we created a series of short videos that are available both on our social media, but also on YouTube and on our website to share some tips and recommendations on sustainable traveling. And you can have a look at these videos, which are mostly in English on our social media, but also on our YouTube channel. After that, so the last thing that we will produce, which is not yet available, but I would recommend you to have a look at our website in the next couple of weeks, is a manifesto and some policy recommendations to policymakers, but also tourism stakeholders, in order to promote a more inclusive tourism. Here you can see it is a QR code to our Guide Me Green website. So we will now maybe paste also the link in the chat, and we would really appreciate if you would like to have a look at our results. So basically, this is a brief introduction on our project. And now I would say we can start with the keynote speakers of the day. So I would give the floor to Dom Spain, who will introduce the speaker of today, the first speaker.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Sonia, to introduce the project and also the results. And the first speaker will be Stefan. He's an expert about tourism, sustainability, and also regenerative tourism, with 20 years of experience with NGOs, authors, so private sector, but also he works for the university. So I will give the floor to Stefan, that of course will share with us his experience and best practices and something that can be helpful for us for the next trips and tourism experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariana, for introduction, and thanks as well to Sonia. Good afternoon, everyone. I will now just share the screen, and so Ariana, can you confirm me that you are seeing the presentation?
Yes, we can see your presentation.
Great, thank you. So more or less, yes, Adriana nicely introduced what I'm going to present today. Again, hello, everyone. So I'm going to speak a little bit about community-led initiatives and tourism that they develop in their own rural livelihoods, and as well how tourism can contribute to actually regenerate these livelihoods and create holistic or a systemic change. And in line with the topic of today's webinar and what I as well discussed with Ariana, I'm going to dedicate a bit of time to communicating these efforts and how we can maybe get it closer to the visitors and the travelers. So I'll briefly go firstly through my own project, is EcoSote Journey, and some of the findings about community-led initiatives and community-led tourism in Latin America. I will a little bit dedicate as well time to my current research on regenerative development. I'm currently finishing a PhD, and then I will go through communication practices. So, so the journey was developed together with my colleague Laura Gasparini, with the idea to contribute and to work on a more just or more responsible tourism and its development. We wanted to put in practice everything that we were previously working on here in Europe, and studying and to contribute to tourism that at the same time is contributing to the host communities, but as well as valorizing local culture and natural heritage, and as well is contributed to nature protection and preservation. We started this in 2018, and over the course of next 2 years, we worked in 10 countries of Latin America with more than 40 initiatives that mostly were community-led initiatives like social enterprises and cooperatives, but as well public and private sector, accommodation providers, tour operators, etc. We were helping these initiatives in our areas of expertise, but at the same time, we wanted to learn from them to see how they do in practice some of these actions that can directly involve the community, contribute to the livelihood, etc. So what we have found while working with them, and which are some positive effects that we have identified. So in all those cases, the community-led initiatives are those enterprises that are owned by community members, but at the same time, community members are those who provide the services, meaning that they work as tour guides, drivers, they work in kitchen, etc. They, in most cases, are born through bottom-up approach, but sometimes it happened there as well, helped from external actors, and then they developed through a top-down approach. In many cases, these social enterprises contribute to various areas of community life. So they provide opportunities for additional work and a source of income that then can contribute to development of other activities, or that one part of income is distributed to agriculture, artisanal production, handicrafts, etc. They also provide opportunities for education, meaning that young people who maybe, or older people who did not have opportunity to study through tourism can develop additional skills, receive education, and develop their careers. At the same time, it provides opportunities for empowerment, meaning that community members are those who decide on the tourism activity that is going to be developed in their surroundings. So they decide on the amount of travelers they can receive, how many times during the week, is it only seasonal or the whole year activity, etc. But as well, it is an opportunity for an innovation, as it creates new economic and social relationships, expands the activities that community develops, and provides new opportunities to further expand their communal life. Here are a few quotes from some of these enterprises that we worked with, so that quite nicely explain the benefits or the impact of tourism. So here in the first one, that is the social enterprise for Mayan community in Mexico, we can see that tourism helped to further develop their traditional activities such as beekeeping or cornfields, etc. That at the same time it helps to stop the migration of young people to urban areas, quite common problem in many places that we visited, that when looking for a career or an opportunity, young people simply abandon traditional livelihoods and communities and go to urban areas to look for any kind of job, just to maybe create some opportunities for themselves. This as well shows here that tourism provided income that later on was distributed and invested into education. In the second example that as well comes from my community, but not the same man community, we see that tourism also helped them to preserve natural environment in their surroundings and to establish practices that help them to improve the management of natural areas and to finally create protected nature reserve. And in the last quote, we can see that tourism was a tool to create important social change by enabling female community members to be drivers of change or to lead tourism activity. I will later on the following slide dedicate more attention to this example. Here are just few of the photos that showcase these examples and their work. On the first two photos, we can see how their traditional handicraft activities are shown to visitors, sort of a workshop or experimental, and where visitors can participate. And later on, these products are sold and generate additional source of income. On a lower photo, we can see example of accommodation that was built to respond to the limitations of the natural environment, to be adapted to the surroundings in order to decrease or to almost annihilate any negative impact, since it was completely built from natural materials and responding to the environment in which it was created. Here are some additional photos that more or less show all these examples. Of course, not all of these impacts are only positive. There are various challenges that these initiatives face. These challenges can be either external or internal, depending from where they come from. It can either be, for example, access to funding opportunity, because many times initiatives are not aware of the funds that they can maybe apply for, or where to apply to for any financial support. They as well have problems in accessing to new technologies or distribution channels. Internally, quite often it happens that community-led initiatives depend on a small number of people or stakeholders, and that they need to include more people in order to develop better their activities. And one of the challenges that is as well related to the topics of this webinar, but as well as I can see of the whole project, is that in many places of Latin America, community-led tourism has a wrong image or a bad reputation as a sort of a tourism of a lower quality, or something that is not fulfilling the expectations or the needs of tourism experience. It is, of course, wrong, and this is not true, but it happens from two main reasons. First, that visitors are not well informed where they travel, and the second, that communities, even if they use different communication channels, they do not communicate very well the experience they provide, what visitor can expect there, and how this tourism is developed. Based on this experience, we focused on social enterprises of Mexico, and have recently published an article that showcases the examples of these social enterprises in Mayan communities of Mexico. Now, when working with them and when visiting these initiatives, we understood that in few examples, tourism is doing a lot more than actually just sustaining the status quo or sustaining what is currently present in these communities, and that their activities are led by this idea of renewing or restoring, or better say, regenerating the whole livelihood in which communities exist and where tourism is developed. Therefore, these initiatives followed the principles of regenerative development and regenerative tourism to develop their activities. What does it mean? It means that they approach tourism development from this systemic or a holistic perspective, understanding that tourism does not operate isolated from other activities or other actors in local communities or economies, and that it is inherently related to other and contributes to them. So tourism developed according to regenerative principle is not just another form of tourism of type, but it is as well, above all, it is developed, it is type of management and development of tourism activity that involves all these principles. It means that it takes into consideration both human and more than human agency. It says that it looks to contribute both to human and non-human well-being. It also strongly advocates and works on a synergic relationship between humans and nature, meaning that human activity is adapted to natural environment, and that humans, by being embedded in nature, also evolve and coexist with nature. As I previously mentioned, it is strongly based on living system thinking, meaning that all actors or activities and sectors in local environment are interconnected, influence each other, and function according to the existing patterns of relationships. And lastly, that any positive return that can be created arrives as a result of a collective and collaborative mindset that includes all local stakeholders and community members. And so when analyzing some of these examples, we understood that there are few of them that followed these principles to develop their activities. I will now go briefly through two of them, so you can see maybe how in practice actually this regeneration functions. So the first example is a Sachavais indigenous community from Ecuador that has suffered due to the intense cattle breeding in their surroundings. So the whole areas of numerous hectares were deforested and the land was used for cattle breeding. And so more than 20 years ago, they partnered with a family that was resettling in that area from the capital Quito with the idea to reforest 200 acres of land. They understood that it can as well be beneficial for them, since it will restore their local livelihood and ecosystem, and therefore they partnered to work together on that. As a consequence of this successful project, they first managed to reforest this area and link this new forest with primary forests of the Amazon basin. This enabled return of autochthonous plant species and made possible again the traditional or indigenous knowledge about the use of these plants, and so to pass this knowledge to younger generations. Within this natural area was created Huasquila tourism project that was completely aligned with environment, and all activities happening there were responding to the limitations of that ecosystem. And here happened that important social changes, that when they started with the tourism, female community members who were previously mostly dedicated to childcare or housework were interested to dedicate more and to involve more in these activities. And so they became a sort of actors of change and leaders of this process by taking the managerial or coordinating activities in one important economic action. As a consequence, it created new opportunities for male members as well, who were previously going to urban areas, abandoning communities, etc., to receive new work opportunities in tourism as drivers, as tour guides, etc. And so they created this systemic impact that completely helped and improved their local livelihoods. The second example is from Colombia. It's from the area of San Rafael, where a local tourism network was established as a sort of a start of activities to renew and restore broken socio-environmental woven. So probably many of the majority of our listeners today know that Colombia passed through 5 decades of armed conflict that completely destroyed both social and environmental relationships in this area of San Rafael. Local community connected among them to try to create a joint effort to rebuild practically the whole society. So they started with the tourism activity from the beginning, but immediately taking this systemic approach, understanding that tourism is connected with other activities as well. So they involved agriculture producers, peasants, artisans, etc., to establish the whole functioning ecosystem. Positive effects were seen as they started new agricultural activities, but as well managed to also reforest one area and to establish protected and private nature reserve. And now I just want to dedicate as well a few minutes to how to communicate and why is it important to communicate community-led efforts. So as I previously mentioned, quite often it happens that visitors are not aware where they're coming or that initiatives do not pass this information to them. It is key to explain that so that visitors can understand how tourism is developed there, what are the positive impacts of tourism for the community, what it brings to them, which changes it creates. But of course, community should not try to lecture the visitor. They are there to have fun, to relax, to spend some nice time. In communicating that, it is always good to avoid any technical language or abstract words and to use words that are familiar or close to general public, that are understandable. It is proven as well that visitors relate with ethics, with dignity, with appreciation for human beings, and so communities should communicate that through their channels and explain how tourism is benefiting and bringing all those non-monetary values to the community. Of course, visitors will ask, well, what is there for me? What do they have from that? And the fact is that all these unique experiences have their own unique value and generate better experiences. It is something that is created on a smaller scale, maybe with more, let's say, passion and dedication, and at the same time, it is a product that can directly contribute to improvement of hosts' life. Visitors as well can be incentivized to help these projects and to support the efforts, but communities should also leave the choice to the visitor which project they would like to support, where they would like to donate, etc. For these efforts, they can as well offer a certain award, etc. And of course, communicating successfully these efforts can create advantage over some other tourism project that has maybe similar price but is not doing all those practices and is not communicating it well. Here are a few examples from the initiatives that we worked with, how they communicate these efforts, explain their relationship to nature, but as well how they valorize and protect culture and natural heritage, give value to every human being involved, how they protect nature, and as well, as you can see on this lower photo, how they communicate what visitors can expect there. So maybe some of these practices are not common to some other tourism experience, but here it is something normal, and this initiative is communicating it to the visitors so they are aware before coming there. Here is another example. We did not work with this project, but it is nice because it uses this idea of economic nutrition, where they showcase where is tourism income going to, or how is it distributed between different different community members and projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan, for your insights. I think community-based tourism is definitely one of the most interesting and also most relevant trends about sustainable tourism. Just a quick information for all participants. In case you have any questions or remarks for Stefan, please feel free to write in the chat, and we have a moment foreseen for Q&A after all three presentations. Okay, great. Then thank you. Then we can move forward with the second speaker, who will be introduced by Nicolas Fourcroy de Eurocom.
Thank you, Sonia. I thank Jean-Pierre Lamique joining us in this presentation for Guide Me Green. Jean-Pierre is a writer, especially on ecotourism and inclusive tourism. He has a very wide career, 44 years from what I understand, in most of the trade available in tourism area. He's actually a publishing director for Sustainable Travel Media and president of VVE, which is an association gathering travelers and tour operators regarding everything eco-responsible regarding tourism. He has worked in 34 countries, mainly in mountain areas, Mediterranean space, Cuba and Mexico. And he has actually mainly a role of mountain guide, which is the area he prefers most from what I understood. I give him the floor. Jean-Pierre.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Yeah. So thank you, Nicolas. I've got different types of activities, especially with associations, from 2007. And we worked in the past with people that were famous in France, like Alain Laurent, who worked with ministries, with tourism organization, world organization, and as well with people, they are specialists for sociology, and we still stay in contact with them. So we mix in the association a lot of people, they work on the terrain in different kind of activities. And as well, it is the only one in France, like said Nicolas, who has people, public, from public. They all have, they all had done a trip with one of our travel agency members, and so they know what is ecotourism and responsible tourism, because they practiced it at least once with one of us. Sorry. And the second association is only 3 years old, and try to do as the Spain, yeah, people from Spain, I think, did very well. It means organize ecotourism in the country, especially with the national park and regional parks. And we try to do the same thing in France, but with more difficulties, because the organization is different, and we don't have any ministry of tourism. We have 5 organizations in the sector, so it's not easy to know who does something and who does other things. And we are looking for now help, because we need help, because organize an association only with your free time, it's difficult. And that's what we do since 17 years now, for one, and 3 years for the other one. So when Nicola asked me to come out today, I was very interested in showing that people, the public, very often think that to stay ecotourism or responsible tourism is cost a lot, cost more, and because very often the press they say that, and they show very often things with luxury hostels, things like this. And I wanted to show that we have a lot of cheap possibilities to do ecotourism or to do responsible trips. And I tried to list about what the possibilities are in France. And you'll see there are many. So first of all, I try to show you that what kind of activities we can do, and with who we can do those activities, and how to find them, because we are not helped at all for showing what it exists. For example, in France, you have 3,000 mountain leaders. I am one of them. We do since 40 years what people discover today. And at the moment, no one knows really what we are doing, and we are sometimes doing things very unique. Myself, I do things that doesn't exist in France sometimes, for example, with my friends, and it's like this in many different parts of France, especially in the mountains, but as well we have very rich possibilities with architecture and things like this. So I try to show you. Now I will be obliged to read about it because it's not so simple to say it like this without reading. So in France we have 12,000 people, 12,000 millions. No, yeah, no, sorry, 12 millions of people walking very often with weekends and everything. So hiking or snowshoeing in the winter is the best example for a very cheap activity. Sorry, but many people, they do it by themselves. And we can say, you do it by yourself, that you are responsible for doing something for ecotourism, because we need someone. We need what we call a guide, or someone knowing territories, knowing heritage, to facilitate encounters, and especially to avoid disturbing wildlife. Because a lot of people in France, around the ski resorts, for example, they disturb wildlife because they don't know there is wildlife around the ski resorts. So the services of certified guide is really important, and one day of guiding is about 200 euros per day for a group up to 12 people. So if you divide this price for 12 people, it costs 17 euros per person for the day of discovery and pleasure. And a little over 8 euros per person for 2 groups of 12 people for half day. For example, for an association, it's really easy to offer that to the people there. They belong to the association. Many mountain guides and ski instructors are trained as well to assist people with reduced mobility, visual or mental impairments, because they can learn that and to apply that after that. The National Union of Mountain Guides has created a website to list some offers related to various activities. There are many: mountain biking, canyoning, trail running, Nordic walking, hiking with donkeys, or for people with reduced mobility, itineraries as well, well-being, tropical hiking, because in France we have overseas territories and volcanoes. Cyclotourism also allows for sustainable tourism at a lower cost. Cost may be different depending on the accommodations chosen for itinerant trips, but many campsites offer affordable rates. The Vélo in France, it's a website in collaboration with French Cycling Federation, presents numerous options for getaways. Each time I put it, the links, maybe you will accede to those links after to see what offers you can discover. Other sports are also governed by specific federation, such as the French Federation of Equestrian Hikers, or the Federation of Canoe, Kayak, and White Water, and the French Federation of Speleology, because as well there are parts of France with a lot of caves. Regarding sailing, we have a very famous school, which is, I think, the best, the biggest in Europe. It's called the Glena. It is in Brittany and in Corsica, and they can offer as well sailing for several days. On the heritage side, FACIM is a foundation, has created Baroque escalade, because we have a lot of churches and chapels of Baroque style, and they are organizing trips as well around this thematic. National parks offer numerous low-cost options as well under the Esprit Park National Label, including accommodations, certified stays, or local services. And we have the same for the regional natural parks. But we only have 58 of them in France, against 152, I think, in Spain, and compare. The National Association of Ecotourism and Slow Tourism, we created it 3 years ago, offers original offers, including some of regenerative tourism, wildlife observation, ethnology, for French, it's not for France, it's normal, itinerancy, or for people with reduced mobility. It allows non-labeled structures to become known through its double system. It's called SEVR, S-E-V-V-R, to evaluate the structures they have no label. The label has a cost, and very often they can't get a label. So we give them the possibility to be presented in the site, just because we see their quality. At the level international, offers of eco-volunteering or participatory tourism are also available, notably by the Association of Responsible Travelers and Tour Operators, VVR, the BERD of the Ethical Charter of Eco-Volunteering and the Charter of Eco-Volunteer. So this works very, very well in France. It is the best asked for by the people we have in the association. A lot of people ask for this because they want to have, they want to save the whales and the animals like this. So you can see a lot of offers are available for people that have not so much money. But in France, it's not so easy. I don't know everywhere, somewhere else, because none of these offers are taken up by members of the microcosm. They speak about responsible tourism, but a lot of speaking, you know. No offers. The offers, they are not presented in those associations, so they are written in the paper I wrote. Some of them are especially making profits, marketing, training, magazines, label. In France, everybody wants the label now, and they buy it quite expensive, so it's difficult for the small structures. And some of them present big companies, international, like the Club Med, Air France, etc., like belonging to sustainable tourism. And we have in France people from the government that they are helping or speaking with those associations, and it makes a contribution for a lot of people. We have a lot of greenwashing in France, I think, and I follow very well what's happening in Spain. It's not like well, less, at least, a lot less. So I will finish by the fact that in France we have many offers, many people doing very good work, many houses, castles, campings like this, that they are doing good things. A lot of guides, a lot of people trying to do very good quality in the offers. But the big lack in France is to let it know to the public, and that's what we try to do with the Association of Ecotourism and Slow Tourism. Well, I finished, I think.
Thank you, Jean-Pierre, for your insights. I think greenwashing is a common problem to all European countries and not only. So thank you very much for sharing your experience and also your recommendations. I think they can be applied very good also outside France. Also in this case, if you people in the audience, if you have any comments or questions, just put them in the chat and we will answer the questions later on. Now I'm very glad to introduce the last speakers of today. It is a German startup, Plazy, and by now I have been knowing pretty well the two founders in the last couple of years. So I can anticipate to you that they started their company because they spotted a market gap in the sustainable travel planning, and specifically that sometimes it is very time consuming and not at all easy to find sustainable ideas when organizing a holidays. They are also a very good example on how to use technology to reach a broader target of tourists, and especially the gamification approach. But now, without spoiling any further, I will leave the floor to Plazy.
Yes, thank you very much, Sonia. It's a pleasure for us to be here today. And yeah, we would like to present you Plazy. I hope you can see the presentation is shared. Can anyone give a sign?
Not yet, or okay, maybe it's only me. I see Stefan is nodding, so probably he sees.
Sorry, no. It started to be shared. I thought it's gonna come, but no, actually I don't see it yet.
Okay, maybe try again.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. How do we do this here? Ich muss das irgendwie wieder größer machen. Wie kriegst du das mit?
Was denn mit so auf Zoom wieder?
Genau. Weil eigentlich, also das hat Zoom ja schon jetzt so klein gemacht.
Oh, jetzt ist hier Screensharing oder okay.
I just start all over again.
Again.
Do you see something now?
Not yet. Maybe would you like to send it to me and I can share it for you?
Yes, we can try that. Just a second. We can send you a link, Sonja.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna share it via email. Sorry for the confusion. Last time it was no problem at all. Coming without any comment.
Yeah, I got it. So just a second. I don't have the permission to.
Ah, yeah, get it.
You should get an email now that you get the permission.
We still see the places screen, so maybe they should stop
Yeah,
you
sharing.
Okay.
Okay. Please stop.
Can you see my screen now with the presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so just tell me when I have to move to the next slide.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Yeah, you can already go to the next slide, please, Sonja. Thank you very much. So Plazy is all about how we can provide people with tailor-made sustainable travel tips, how we can help them to have a green date with their destination. So my name is Katrin Sander.
And I'm Inka Schmeling. Hi. And
Sonja, you have to go one further. No, it's okay. Yeah, we have it. Yeah, this is the right slide.
do you see the slide where you can see both of us, our pictures?
Hello?
I can see the slide,
Yes.
but I'm sharing my screen, so I'm not sure. Okay.
Yes,
see
yes, yes, we see, yeah.
Okay.
The slide with our pictures?
Yes.
Okay, okay, great. Yeah, and Katrin and I, we founded Plazy in 2022, and maybe we should explain the name a little bit, because Plazy stands for lazy planning, and like Sonja said, that's kind of our mission, because Plazy is a digital platform for curated travel tips, and we develop web apps for destinations. We have Wiesbaden, Frankfurt, and Hamburg already published. And for Hamburg, we have focused on the topic of sustainable travel. And we are observing that destinations are very interested in the topic of sustainability. And we are also at the moment developing web apps with this specific focus for Berlin and for Lübeck.
We know the partners in the destinations have a lot of projects concerning sustainability. There are certification processes underway, and more offers are being developed. But at the same time, much of what the destinations are developing is still not reaching the users, the travelers, enough. So the green date, we call it like that, is not yet working, and we would like to change that. So we can go to the next slide.
And yeah, there you see what we have highlighted, because we think it's very essential. And that's kind of the vision, both for us and also for our partners, to say that sustainable travel should really not be the exception. It should be a matter of course. And unfortunately, that's not the case at the moment. So if we go on the next slide, you can see why.
Genau, that's because of the so-called attitude behavior gap, which is a nice term for I should actually, but oh no, not really. And in a study from 2023, it was shown that only 30% of travelers in Germany said that they really travel with sustainability in mind, compared to 50% of travelers who would like to do so. And according to the Federal Environment Ministry Sustainability Report here in Germany, the number of people who are traveling sustainably is actually going down, because the pandemic years have encouraged sustainable tourism. And we think that this is an alarming development, an alarming figure, and not a good process. And we asked ourselves, why is this the case?
So on the next slide, you see a few answers, a few key issues that we have identified, and they're all interrelated. And in our opinion, that's why they must all be addressed together and all kept in view in order to promote sustainable tourism. And very important is, on the one side, is the issue of visibility. And our experience is that sustainable offers don't always catch the eye of travelers at the moment. This is due to the fact that users are confronted often with an information overload. So they get a lot of information, and for them, filtering out the sustainable offers is really time consuming and puts many travelers quite off.
And second, there's also the issue of organization. Even if you've already heard about the sustainable offer, the booking process, or even just the way of getting there to join this offer, can seem to be too much work.
Yeah, and finally, we have the topic of customizing. We all have our very individual wishes, especially when we go on vacation. And fewer and fewer people want this, I don't know, totally standard package deal. So sustainable offers must really also keep this trend in mind, this trend towards individualization.
Let's have a look a little bit closer on these three topics. So on the next slide, we are dealing with visibility. We developed Plazy to provide solutions. And Inka and I, we worked as journalists for a long time before we founded Plazy. And we know that without storytelling and without finding the right channels, even the best offers won't reach anyone, or won't reach less people. We need stories to tell, and we need people who are presented to us as heroes, as protagonists of these stories.
Yeah, it's also important that the tips we give are quite to the point, that they're very specific and focused, and above all, not too long. There's an old radio rule that you can talk about anything, but you should keep it in 1 minute and 30 seconds. And our impression is that it still applies, or is even harder by now.
Yes. The situation today is even more drastic, because the attention span in which our brain decides whether it finds a story interesting or not is just 8 seconds. So therefore, a good tip, a good offer must quickly set off something like a mental movie that inspires us.
So on the next slide, we go a little bit deeper in the topic of organization. And the question, like, what do I do about the fact that many travelers simply find it too difficult to take advantage of sustainable offers on site. And the answer is quite obvious. We have to make it easier, or as easy as possible, for them to find these tips. And we really think that sustainable travel shouldn't be more tedious than other ways of traveling. And ideally, it should actually be even easier.
And we achieve this via direct links to bookable offers or via the option to get involved. Of course, getting involved also means investing time, but what is also important to travelers and what they are willing to invest time in are experiences. Experiences are increasingly sought after when traveling, even topping the desire for consumption in many target groups. And this need of travelers is a huge driver for sustainable offers.
Yeah, it's just like telling others, and we like to do that. We love to talk about our travels, and we actually love to listen to friends and colleagues when they talk about their travel stories. And these are the tips we remember, and we remember way better than, for example, Google hits, because we are curious and we like to try things and we like to play around a little bit. Sonja has already said this part of gamification. And we think it's quite important to take this gamification approach and to use it when it comes to sustainable travel offers. That this way of getting to know these tips is joyful.
Yeah, and if we go to the next slide, we will talk a little about customizing, because your tips should be personal. They should be tailored to your needs. Customizing is a trend that we know from many, many areas. For example, from fitness apps, where I can create my own personal training plan, or from streaming providers that suggest new films or series based on my interests, on my selection. Or, of course, from dating apps. And we would like to invite people who are working in tourism and travelers to introduce this mechanism, this customizing in tourism, especially in sustainable tourism. In other words, to invite people to a green dating with their destination.
Yeah, and it really is like a dating app. It works by asking users what they want to experience, what they cherish in life, and it suggests sustainable offers then. And it's not just like one option among several. For Hamburg and soon also for Berlin and for Lübeck, we only offer sustainable tips. So it's no opting out. It's really just offering sustainable tips. And from this offer, which is personally curated for each traveler who uses Plazy, everyone can then choose their own personal matches. So it's really like a dating app. You can slide back and forth and just look for what fits your needs.
So what does the whole thing look like? What does Plazy offer? We will take you through it, and we have prepared a short screen video from Plazy Hamburg for this purpose. So Sonja, if you could please move to the next slide. It should start. As a user, I select my destination, and then I answer a few questions, and we have made sure that they are as varied as possible so that this is fun. That's keyword gamification. And depending on my answers, I then receive my personal travel list, my curated list of tips, and I can display additional content like more photos, text. I can display the tip on a map. I can search for more tips, and I can save everything I like in a collection of my favorites.
And as you've seen, at the moment, Plazy is only working in German, but we're actually working on it to have it in different languages in just a few weeks. So the next time we make a presentation, you can read everything in English. And what you probably got, even though it was in German, is that Plazy works quite quick and easy. It's a web app, so I don't need to download anything. I don't need to register. I don't need to pay. I can just simply do it in my browser. And this is very important to us to keep it very, very low key, because Plazy is created in cooperation with the destinations, and they want to get in contact with as many travelers as possible. And we think it's very quick and easy, and it's very transparent, especially in the case of sustainability, because in each tip we always explain why this tip is sustainable to us, like what we find very good about this explicit tip.
So if we go to the next slide, we can see that, yeah, as with real dating, it's very important to be able to choose from a good pool of candidates. So if we transfer this to Plazy, it is important to create a broad portfolio of sustainable offers, which can then be made visible and advertised using tools such as ours, such as Plazy. We have listed here 3 offers from our Hamburg web app. This is the green kayak, which means you rent a boat for free and then collect garbage in the Ulster. You put the garbage out of the water. Or the second example is a very nice cafe, which is called In Guter Gesellschaft, or in English, in Good Company. It's Germany's oldest zero-waste cafe, which is also regularly doing some vintage fashion exchange events. And the third example that we listed here is an insider tour through the quarter of Hafen City, which is a pioneering project here in urbanism in Hamburg, especially concerning sustainable housing and the way of building sustainable houses. So everyone has his or her own taste, and this is why destinations should develop different offers to what people's appetite for their green date.
And then on the next slide, you find kind of like a summary, a conclusion on what makes a green date a success. And we are experiencing with our users at Plazy that it is not only possible to convince travelers of sustainable tourism, but it's actually possible to get them really excited about it, and to I don't know, cheer up emotions about all this. And we do this by telling them the story of this offer, of this cafe, and how it was created, and making it visible, and also by making it easy for them to choose this offer together, and by giving them suggestions that don't work according to this principle or one fits all and everybody gets the same, but you can really say, hey, that's a tip that's really perfectly suitable for you.
Yes, and now we are at the last slide. And it's our goodbye and thank you slide. So if you are interested, if you would like to know more about Plazy, about the process, how we do it, what are our next destinations, please do not hesitate to get in touch with us by mail, phone, on LinkedIn. We are really looking forward to hearing from you, to getting inspiration. And yeah, we say thank you very much for allowing us to present Plazy to you here today as a way to a successful green date.
Thank you, Inka and Katrin, for your presentation. I think this is very relevant also for the purposes of our project. This intention behavior gap, it is exactly what we are actually trying to tackle also with our Guide Me Green project. So now I would say if anybody has questions or remarks from the speakers or from the audience, just you can also unmute yourself. Okay, I see that we have one question first one question for Stefan. How does your organization motivate local residents to participate in the project? And in your personal experience, do you think that the tourism professionals are well informed of the importance of regenerative tourism?
Thank you, Sonia. Yeah, I saw now the question. Okay, well, first question. Well, those are the best ways to start with different participatory practices. Those quite often will depend from the community themselves, how they work it. So are those like do they have any communal meetings, how they organize their process between themselves, or something classical like focus groups, or representatives for every different sector, etc. What is important is, however, and mentioned in the question, to motivate is that they to allow them to understand that when tourism is developed from jointly from community members, then all of them will feel the benefits, and all will be in some way included and will benefit from that, because tourism is not isolated sector, but receives input from different sectors, and so it will create it creates a spillover effect. So by activating them in this process to contribute to tourism, they will receive, of course, benefit individually, but as well there will be this benefit for the community on the whole. But the key is that they understand that when tourism is developed in the right way, then all community owners will feel the benefits. And the second, personal experience, do you think the tourism well, that's a good question. Regenerative tourism is a relatively new topic in both scientific and practical discussions. There are various practitioners who work on that, and scholars are trying to link theory with practice. Currently, there is an ongoing debate and urges to link more theory with practice, and to discover or create more case studies that develop according to regenerative mindset. Those who work on that or who observe tourism critically or understand the importance of tourism for local development, yes, they are aware, but it is still, I believe that regenerative tourism is still a niche area that is slowly expanding and developing, in some countries more, in some countries less, of course. But you know, it as well depends who those scholars are. There are many of them who dedicate to other areas of research and simply are not interested in this topic.
Thank you, Stefan. We have a second question for Blazy, also from Ellen. I really like how the platform works by asking and adapting to the visitor. You mentioned that Blazy will also be published in other languages. Will other countries also be included, or will more destinations be added to the platform?
Yeah, we're actually working on it right now. Our goal is to have, for the start, to have 5 other languages. That's what we're trying to do now. And I think this will be possible by April, May, kind of that area. And we're actually talking to the first 2 international destinations to have Blazy implemented for them as well. And we're really looking forward to this. Like, we started in Germany, but yeah, we want to be an international platform and grow.
And also be open to visitors from other countries for the German destination. So this works in both directions.
Second question for Blazy. Which requirements are needed for destinations to participate, be included in the web app?
Well, our experience, I'm not sure if that's the right direction, but about the size of destination, we're talking to a very, very small city at the moment, and our impression is to curate individual travel tips. We should have at least 50 tips in the background to really be able to kind of give everybody a different set of tips. I think it's very nice for a little bit bigger places, like the cities we mentioned before. There we have usually like something around 100 tips, plus or minus. And we always work with them, like from the beginning, like we talk together, like what are people who come to this destination interested in most? What do they want to see? And then we try to find kind of like a good mix for everybody, like the classical sites that everybody needs to see, a few hidden sites, depending on the destination, a few tips for families, for people who love to be in the nature, a few different cafes and everything. So it's really nice, like Katrin said before, to have an interesting portfolio. So you can pick very individual travel agendas.
Maybe, Sonia, one question for Jean-Pierre, which is regarding the way his association, VVE, is unique in the fact that it is gathering again travelers and tour operators. And what we saw during the development of Guide Me Green was the sheer difficulty to give accurate information about sustainable tourism for the public we are aiming with the project. So would Jean-Pierre would have an idea of the best way to touch these people who would be able to benefit from this information, that they can have a sustainable path in the way they organize their journey in tourism without getting involved in too much expenses?
Well, we did already a lot. We wrote books, we created a media, 2 associations, and we are very present in LinkedIn. And in fact, it's difficult to arrive in the house of the public. The only way for me is to speak about the experiences we live. So when I speak about my own experience or what we create, or when we show pictures, when we say this is possible, like for example, volunteer, people see that not like something ecotourism, sustainable tourism or something like that. They see that like an experience they can live. And when they see some experiences are not so expensive, well, they will look especially for the experience. So they want to live, they want to come inside the landscape, the people, the countries, the villages. They want to be inside. And when you show them what is the experience you can live with, it's a lot better than the words. So I think by images, by relation of experiences, but now I don't believe anymore in articles, in press, in blah, blah, blah. It's in France, because they have too much, they have got too much. And many people, they don't believe it in their words now. They just believe in the view, in what you can live is that, and come to live it. And with us, for example, snow experiences are fantastic. For example, walking, trekking in different places, fantastic experience. And we do as well experiences with the trees, you know. All those things, they exist. And we have to speak about what exists and come to live those experiences with us. I think it's more important than to try to explain a lot by words, because we did it already a lot. And well, I think when I go in Spain, 5-6 months a year, I travel, I stop in a national park and I visit. And what I live is fantastic. And so that's what we need to do in France, to let them the possibility to come, to visit, and to say after that, yeah, it is well organized. There are many people on the terrain and they do a very good job. I think. I don't know if I answer, Nicolas.
Yes, Jean-Pierre, thank you very much for your answer.
Thank you. I think this is also the tricky point, at least what we experience also in Guide Me Green. People that are already interested in sustainable travel, they will put some more effort to get informed, but how to reach to those people who normally or who don't yet look actively for sustainable tourism tips. So this is also, I mean, our common problem here. So thank you.
And to finish, one thing I very often say, there are 15 years I do ecotourism with people. I never say the word. They don't know they do ecotourism. They know they do a nice day or a nice trip or a nice trekking, but they don't say about ecotourism or something like experiences they live. It's the best.
Great. So I don't know if we have any other questions. I don't see any more in the chat. So you will receive in some days the link also to access the webinar on YouTube and on our Guide Me Green website. We will be very happy to be in touch with anybody who would like to. And I recommend you once again to have a look at our website. We would love to receive your feedback. So thank you to my colleagues who actually organized this webinar. And yeah, just let's keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Gracias. Merci.